Over dinner, my dad said it'd be better if you didn't show your face when we boarded. My mom laughed. We're trying to keep this vacation peaceful. I nodded and said, then I'll stay far away. Hours later, I canceled the international roaming plans, reversed the hotel prepaid, and flagged every flight charge. By morning, I got one message. We're stuck. Did you do this? I sent back a smiling emoji, and then I didn't even know they wanted to relax without me. When we first started talking about a summer trip, it was my mom who brought it up. She said it had been too long since we'd all traveled together, that it would be just like old times. My dad nodded like he agreed, and my sister started throwing out destination ideas like she already had Pinterest boards made. They wanted somewhere coastal, international, not too flashy, but not cheap either. I handled the boring parts, researching hotels, checking passport expiration dates, comparing flights. They sent links, made jokes about how I'd turn it into another work trip, and kept talking about how nice it would be to finally unwind as a family. Not once did anyone say, oh, by the way, you're not actually coming. I paid for everything. Full flights, round trip, upgraded there. Seats, lounge access, roaming plans for everyone so they wouldn't have to worry about airport Wi-Fi. Booked the hotel through my travel rewards program to get them better perks than prepaid in full because it was cheaper that way. My sister sent me a message with her passport info and a separate note saying, please make sure I don't get a middle seat this time. Everything looked normal. No one said a word about excluding me. Why would they? It was my card, my account. It was a family trip. And I was family until that dinner. We met up 2 nights before the flight. Just a quick dinner to finalize things. Or so I thought. I remember I was running late, still tying up some last-minute work stuff. And when I got there, they were already seated and halfway through drinks. I sat down, and before I even had a chance to open the menu, my dad said it. It'd be better if you didn't show your face when we boarded. My mom laughed like it was a joke. We're trying to keep this vacation peaceful. No offense, but it's for our mental health. I looked at all 3 of them. My sister didn't even look up from her phone. There wasn't a flicker of hesitation on their faces. They had clearly rehearsed this, agreed on it. Like I was the problem, like the person who booked and paid for every single piece of this trip was somehow the one ruining everything by just existing. I said, then I'll stay far away. They nodded satisfied, as if I just agreed to do them a favor. That night, after they were probably asleep with half-packed suitcases, I opened my laptop, logged into my carrier account, canceled the roaming upgrades, then I reversed the hotel charges, the elite status on my profile. Let me do it instantly. No cancellation fee. Then I flagged every single flight as suspicious on my credit card portal. All of it was booked under my name anyway. I knew exactly how the system worked because I was the one who made it work. By the time they arrived at the airport, everything was gone. Hotel booking disappeared. Flights canceled or locked due to fraud alerts. Phones useless without roaming in another country. At 5:42 a.m., while I was eating breakfast, I got one text from my mom. We're stuck. Did you do this? I sent back a single smiling emoji. No reply after that. Not for a few hours, but I knew it wouldn't be over. Not with them. They always find a way to make themselves the victims, to turn things around so that somehow I'm the one who's wrong. And sure enough, that's exactly what they tried next. By noon the next day, my phone started lighting up like a slot machine. Missed calls from both parents, 2 voicemails. From my mom, a long message from my dad that read like a mix between a sermon and a corporate complaint, and then my sister, of course. Her message just said, "Seriously? Grow up and fix this." I didn't respond. I just watched it all coming while I ate eggs and toast like it was any other Thursday. Let me back up for a second. These people had no idea how any of this stuff worked. They didn't know how to book international flights. They didn't know about cancellation windows or what happens when a primary account holder freezes roaming access. They thought the whole world ran on autopilot, and all they had to do was show up with sunglasses and make sarcastic comments about airport security. I was the one who handled everything: flights, hotels, SIM cards, upgrades, even the stupid travel insurance they always said was pointless until something went wrong. So now that I'd pulled the rug out from under them, they were spiraling, and watching them scramble without a clue, that was the first time in years I actually felt calm. Around 1:00 p.m., my dad texted again. "So this is your idea of a joke? You've got problems, Audrey. Real ones. We're trying to enjoy time as a family, and you're acting like a child." A half hour later, my mom followed up. "We're stuck at the airport, and your father is about to have a panic attack. The airline says the card was reported stolen. What is wrong with you?" Still nothing from me. Then around 4, the tone changed. My sister tried her version of diplomacy. "Look, I don't care about what happened at dinner, okay? But we're $800 short now because the hotel is making us rebook and the rates went up. Can you just help us out so we don't sleep at the airport? I'll pay you back next week." I just stared at it for a bit. She was lying. Obviously, she wouldn't pay me back. She still hadn't paid me back for the $400 I fronted for her moving truck 3 months ago, or the $150 for the emergency vet bill, or the $90 for the new door knob she broke and never mentioned until I got the repair invoice. I sent her $100. No message, no explanation, just the amount. She responded instantly. "What is this, Audrey? This isn't funny. We need more than that." I replied, "It's yours. You don't have to pay it back." No response for 5 minutes. Then came a call. I didn't pick up. Then a voicemail from my mom. Second one of the day. She didn't yell this time. It was quieter, more dramatic. She talked about how hurt they were, how they didn't understand why I'd be so spiteful. She called it unprovoked, called me unstable, said they were just trying to do what was best for everyone. That's the part that stuck with me. What's best for everyone? What they really meant was what's most convenient for them, what keeps me quiet and compliant, what gets the bills paid without them feeling like leeches. That's always been their version of family, me keeping them afloat, and them pretending I didn't. I didn't reply. Instead, I logged into every shared account we still had. Just 2 left. The streaming service, and the shared Amazon Prime. I removed all of them. Then I called the bank and finalized the closure of the joint savings account my mom had access to. She hadn't contributed to it in 6 years, but she liked to refer to it as our backup. It was mine, and now it was closed. By the time the sun went down, the group chat was silent. I'd never heard them this quiet before. By the next morning, the tone of everything had shifted. Less rage, more guilt. They'd gone from angry to pathetic faster than I thought possible. And honestly, it was kind of fascinating to watch. I woke up to a long message from my mom that read like, it had been rehearsed out loud a few times before she hit send. Audrey, I think there's been a big misunderstanding. We weren't trying to leave you out. We just thought it might be better if you took some time to yourself. You've seemed stressed lately, and we didn't want to pressure you into anything. We were trying to give you space, not punish you. Please don't twist it. We're miserable now. Can't we just move on from this? So apparently being told to stay away from the airport gate because my presence would ruin the mood was giving these space. Sure. Then came my dad. Look, this doesn't have to turn into a full-on disaster. You made your point. We get it. Just send over the hotel confirmation number so we can at least have a decent place to stay for the rest of the week. We're not asking for money. Just help us fix what you broke. I didn't respond to either of them. I was already having coffee and reading through news articles like I hadn't just pulled the plug on their whole trip the day before. At 2 p.m., my sister tried to call. I let it ring, then watched her text pop up before the call had even finished. Audrey, come on. This is ridiculous. You seriously can let everything and now you're ghosting us? You think that's normal? Grow up. I'm not like them. I didn't laugh at dinner. I just didn't say anything. That's different. Please, we need help. The hotel wants $900 now. That's insane. Just send it. I'll pay you back next week. Promise. She included a crying emoji at the end, which somehow made the whole thing even more insulting. This was the same sister who once called me from her honeymoon, asking if I could send them a quick $200 because they underestimated how much the minibar would cost, who had me pay for her car's down payment because her credit was being weird that month, who thought she was entitled to $5,000 for a starter budget for her new apartment renovation. I sent her $100, same as before. No message, no reason, just the exact amount I thought she deserved. Barely enough to buy her time and a clear sign that it was over. She replied instantly, "What is this, Audrey? What am I supposed to do with $100? Are you seriously being this petty?" I wrote back, "That one's a gift. No need to pay it back." She didn't respond after that. Later that evening, I took a walk around my neighborhood. No destination, just needed to get outside. My phone buzzed. About halfway through, voicemail. My mom. Again, she was crying, or at least making the effort to sound like she was. She said the hotel they found was awful, that the rooms smelled like bleach, and the staff were rude, that they'd spent most of the day trying to book a decent place but had no luck, that this wasn't what they wanted at all. Then she said something that stopped me mid-step. "Your sister said you're even cutting her off from the renovation funds. Her bedroom is half painted and there's exposed drywall. She and James have been trying to get everything finished before the baby. You know they can't afford to do it without help. So now they were bringing up the baby. I hadn't even told her yet that I stopped the renovation payments that morning. She found out the same way I found out I wasn't invited on the trip, through surprise and silence. And now they were treating it like an attack. I'd paid for the furniture, the paint, the contractors, the noise and selling curtains because her husband works night shifts. They'd already been planning to ask for more money for a built-in closet. I'd seen the text draft on her phone when she left it unlocked one time. She never sent it. Probably didn't need to. She assumed I'd just keep giving. Like always, I turned off my phone and kept walking. That night, I sat in bed, reading and thinking about all the times I'd helped them without question. How many times I gave in just to keep the peace. How many trips, bills, repairs, and emergencies I handled like a personal assistant with a credit line. Now they were alone in a motel with beige walls and mystery stains, acting like they'd been betrayed, like they hadn't planned to disappear to another country without me while using my money to do it. And that voicemail, it wasn't the end of the manipulation. It was just the warm-up. By the third day, I figured they'd give up, go radio silent, soak their way through the rest of the trip and come home with passive, aggressive energy and overdramatic stories about how the whole experience was cursed from the start. But instead, they doubled down and things got weirder. I was midway through a grocery run when I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. No name, no photo. Just a headache. This is Alicia. I'm a friend of your mom's from church. She asked me to reach out. She's really upset. I know families go through things, but holding on to anger doesn't solve anything. Please talk to her. They were now outsourcing guilt, delegating emotional manipulation like it was a customer service task. I ignored it. Then my sister tried a new angle. Around noon, she sent me a photo of their hotel room. It was a cramped, dingy-looking place with 2 twin beds and a leaking AC unit in the background. The caption read, "We're sleeping with towels under the window. It's moldy in here. If something happens to Dad's breathing, that's on you." That part wasn't even subtle. They were trying to link my dad's possible health issues to me not sending money. The man smokes cigars on the back porch every evening and drinks whiskey like it's a vitamin supplement. But now, suddenly, I was a threat to his respiratory system. Then came the part one didn't expect. They posted about me publicly. My cousin sent me a screenshot from Facebook. My mom had posted one of those vague status updates, the kind that starts with, "Some people forget who stood by them through it all," and ends with, "But God sees everything." People were commenting with things like, "Praying for you and family is everything. Stay strong." Then my sister jumped in and added her own post. A picture of her half-finished bedroom, complete with an unpainted wall and a pile of unopened furniture boxes. Capsion, when people who promise to help suddenly disappear but will push through. We always do. She didn't name me, but everyone in the family circle knew who paid for that bedroom and who just stopped. By the time I got home, That evening, my uncle had texted me, then my aunt, both of them with the same gentle tone. Just call your mom. She misses you. Don't let money ruin what matters. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I logged into the contractor portal my sister had been using and officially canceled the final 2 payments for the bedroom renovation. She'd get a call in the morning, probably pretend to be confused, maybe. Cry on the phone, tell James the first was having a breakdown. It didn't matter. But the biggest surprise came at 10 p.m. A PayPal notification popped up on my phone. Dad's full name sent you $100. With a note, we'll pay back the rest soon. Just please help us get home. That was when I realized it wasn't just guilt anymore. They were starting to panic. Their credit cards were likely maxed. The backup plans had dried up. My mom's social circle wasn't coughing up hotel money. And now they were sending me my money, to try and trigger some kind of response, as if that $100 would make me feel bad enough to undo everything. I refunded it. Then I sent one final message in the family group. The one they hadn't dared touch since the day after dinner. This isn't punishment. It's correction. You don't get to mock me and use me at the same time. I'm not angry anymore. I'm done. And then I left the group chat. The next day, they tried something else. I knew it. They weren't done flailing, but I was done watching. By the time I left the group chat, I figured they'd stew in silence for a while, let the embarrassment settle, maybe regroup. But I underestimated just how deep their dependency ran without me covering for their choices. Things began unraveling fast and publicly. The next morning, I got a text from James, my sister's husband. We hadn't spoken directly in months, and even then, it was mostly logistics about the renovation. Hey, man, not sure what's going on, but Anna's been a wreck. I don't want to step into family stuff, but we're trying to figure out how to cover the last part of the bedroom build. Contractor said, everything's frozen. I stared at the message for a minute. He wasn't confrontational. He sounded like someone who just realized the floor was gone under his feet. And honestly, I didn't blame him. Anna hadn't told him she'd let him believe everything was on track, while knowing full well the money train had hit the brakes. I didn't answer. That afternoon, the contractor called me directly. He'd worked with me before on a side project and recognized my name from the initial payment. He said, look, I don't know the whole situation, but the place is mid-tear down and your sister hasn't responded since the account froze. I need to know if this job's still alive or if I'm walking. I told him plainly it was done. No more payments were coming. He didn't sound surprised, just said he wished someone had told him sooner. I wished the same. By evening, the dominoes were falling faster. My cousin Sarah sent me another screenshot, this time from my mom's account. She posted a blurry photo of them at the airport. Her, my dad, and Anna sitting on their luggage looking miserable. The caption was some long-winded thing about how families fall apart when one person decides they're too good to forgive. She wrote about betrayal, about being abandoned in a foreign place, again, still New York, about God's judgment. It got dozens of likes. A few of my relatives left comments about how they hoped I would see the light. One of them tagged me. I Didn't respond, but I wasn't done either. That night, I logged into one last account they still had access to. My travel rewards portal. They'd been casually using my points for years. Free. Hotel nights, airline upgrades even. That massage my mom got last year in Miami that she said was disappointing because they didn't offer wine. I changed the login, then revoked all. Shared access. That was the final chord. The following day, my sister tried. Calling again 3 times. I ignored. Everyone. She left a voicemail. You made your point, Audrey. We get it. You're in control. Is that what this is about? Power. You're cutting off your own family just to make us gravel. I hope it's worth it. I hope you enjoy being right because we're falling apart over here. But the thing was, I wasn't enjoying it. Not exactly. I wasn't sitting there with popcorn cheering as the chaos unfolded. I wasn't getting off on watching them struggle. I just wasn't going to rescue them anymore. And that's what made it so unbearable for them. Because I'd always rescued them quietly, consistently, no matter what they said, how they treated me, how many times they made jokes at my expense. I was the one they leaned on while pretending I was lucky to be included. Now they were stuck publicly unraveling slowly, getting exposed to their own web of people who were starting to realize maybe I wasn't the villain here, and they still had one more card to play. I just didn't know how desperate they were about to get. It was the following weekend when they finally played their last card. I'd been off my phone most of the day, enjoying what felt like real silence for the first time in years. No. Demands, no requests, no cryptic. Guilt-drenched messages. Around 700 p.m., I got a knock at my door. Not a text, not a call, a knock. For a second, I thought maybe it was a delivery or one of my neighbors needing something, but when I looked through the peephole, I saw James. Just him. No one, no suitcase, no car idling outside. He looked exhausted, like he'd been walking in circles with no plan. I opened the door slowly. He lifted his hand, slightly like he wasn't trying to be a threat. I'm not here to fight, he said. I just need to talk. I let him in mostly out of curiosity. He sat on the edge of my couch like someone in a waiting room, sure of how this was going to go. He told me they were out of options. The hotel had kicked my parents out after they tried to pay with a frozen card and refused to leave for hours. Anna was back home, staying with a friend. The bedroom was still a disaster. Drywall exposed, dust everywhere. The landlord was threatening to bill them for the mess if it wasn't completed in 2 weeks. They were behind on their bills, and none of their usual backup plans were working anymore. Nobody was lending them anything. Then he pulled out an envelope, a thick one. Your dad pawned his Rolex, he said. Anna sold her ring. They're trying to get the money to finish the renovation, but it's not enough. I know it's not your job. And I don't even care about the money. I just think they finally get it. What? They did. I'm just asking if you'll talk to them. I stared at the envelope, didn't touch it. Then I asked him one question. Why now? He paused. Then he said something I didn't expect because your mom said something last night. She said, maybe if we just act sorry long enough, he'll go back to normal. That's when I realized they're not actually sorry. They're just scared. He sat back. Let that sink in. They hadn't changed. Not really. They weren't reflecting or reckoning or anything close to it. They were just losing control, and they hated it. They thought maybe if they looked pitiful enough, I'd switch back into old Audrey, the fixer, the wallet, the emotional sponge. I looked at James and told him calmly, tell them I wish them the best, but I'm not stepping back into this. They're going to have to figure it out. All of it. He nodded, didn't argue, just left the envelope on the table and walked out. I never opened it. The next day, I sent one last message to my sister. I'm done being someone you reach for when the consequences show up. You'll be okay, but not because of me. Then I blocked all of them, changed my number, closed the last credit account my mom once had access to. For the first time, my silence wasn't a tactic. It wasn't revenge. It was peace. And I'm keeping it. Months passed. The silence stuck, and I kept waiting for something to crack. Some impulsive new reach out. A fake emergency, some secondhand drama. Delivered through a cousin who just wanted to help, but nothing came. The quiet held. I focused on my own life. Got more work done in those few months than I had the entire year before. Traveled solo, something I'd always put off. Started talking to people who didn't immediately need something from me. I was sleeping better, thinking clearer. For the first time, I didn't feel like a backup character in my own life. Then one afternoon, I got an email, no subject, from an address I didn't recognize right away. It was from a girl named Ellie, 17 years old. Said she was my cousin, technically my mom's half-sister's daughter. We met maybe twice when she was little. I wouldn't have remembered her at all. Her message was short. Hey, I know this is random, but I saw what happened with your family. Just wanted to say you weren't crazy. Everyone knew they treated you like that. They just didn't want to be the next person cut off. I think what you did was brave. I hope you're okay. That was it. I sat there reading it once, twice, then again. She had nothing to gain from sending that. No angle, no ask. Just one person who watched it all from a distance finally sang out loud what no one else ever had. I saw it. It wasn't just you. I never replied. I didn't need to, but that message was the most unexpected part of it all. Not the crying, the threats, the begging, the lies. None of that was new. What surprised me was someone quietly confirming what I already knew, but had been made to feel delusional for. Believing for years that they used me, that they never respected me, that I had every right to walk away. And I did. They never rebuilt the bedroom. I found out later through a neighbor who still follows Anna on Instagram. The room was repurposed into a makeshift storage space. Boxes, plastic drawers, a broken fan in the corner. She never posted about the baby again. I don't know if it was a lie or something changed, or maybe just another card they played and dropped when it didn't work. My parents, they're still around, floating in other people's lives, dropping breadcrumbs of their victimhood wherever they can, telling their version of the story to anyone who will listen, but not to me. I haven't spoken to any of them since. James stood in my apartment with that envelope